Live from Schellenberger Field, you're watching Women's College Lacrosse on LHSN as the Lynchburg Hornets play host to the Southern Virginia Knights. The Knights 0-2 coming into today's game. Lynchburg officially 2-0 with a win in conference play due to an EMU forfeit later on in the schedule. Going to be a fun battle, just the second all-time meeting between these two sides. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and spending some time with us on your Saturday afternoon. TJ Wingert here with you to take you through all of the action. Here are some of the stats coming into today's contest. Obviously, small sample size for both teams. So let's take the chance to talk about the games already played by these two sides. For Lynchburg, it was a 16-8 win over Averett, and a solid way to start the season. So there are some of the numbers from that win against the Cougars. And on the other side, Southern Virginia coming off losses against Roanoke as well as Bridgewater. The Roanoke game ends in a 19-1 final score. A little bit closer against Bridgewater, 16-12 loss for Southern Virginia, looking for their first win this afternoon. A lot of players we can talk about out on the turf today. Starting with the Knights, number 2, Alyssa Johnson. You had to have a goal or an assist in either of the prior two games played for the Knights, but how about the season Johnson played last year? Started all 15 games, 47 goals, 16 assists, good for a program record for a single season with 63 points. And on the other side, Nikki Santora. If you're familiar with Lynchburg Lacrosse, the Santora last name is one you have heard plenty of times. 3 goals, 2 assists in the win against Averett, and this is coming on the heels of Santora's 40-goal season last year for Lynchburg. And between the posts for Southern Virginia, number 32, Jessica Webb, had 11 saves in the loss against Bridgewater. All total in the season, Webb with 19 stops on the year, goal against average at 17.5. And on the other side, it's the freshman from Forest, Virginia, Patricia Rogers. Second collegiate start for Rogers. 8 saves, 8 goals allowed against Averett. Therefore, 50% save percentage so far on the young season. And talking about the coaches, Bruce Reed and his 20th year at the helm for Lynchburg. On the other side, third-year head coach Rainey Whitworth. Also played at Southern Virginia from 2013-2016, as you see on your screen. Players at midfield, we'll have our opening draw control. And play now underway. Ground ball picked up by Natalie Ewell, senior from Oak Grove, Missouri. Ewell will bring it back around the net. Brings it to the near side. Tyler John, sophomore from Utah. Had it, lost it. Rolls across the near sideline, and now Lynchburg gets their first chance on the offensive side. That's Chloe Mitchell, the first to it, flinging it ahead, trying to find, like I said, Mia Sullivan. Pass was broken up for a moment. Bringing it up the near side, Leah Dumas, grad student from Maine. 3 goals, 3 assists in the win against Averett. Dumas knocked down to the turf. Possession's going to stay with the Hornets. Dumas, third team All-ODAC in 2021, and how about in 2020, 27th in the country, the Division III level, with an 83.3% free position success rate. And that carried into season opener this year. Dumas went 2 for 6 free position chances against the Cougars of Averett. Bringing it across midfield, this is Madison Knight. Had 4 ground balls picked up in the win over Averett. Nikki Santora brings into the attacking third. Over to Tori King. Now with Alla Daniel. And Lynchburg will start to have the offense work around the clock. Plenty of time to work with on the shot clock. Daniel up top. Soft toss. Dumas. Right down Broadway. The shot, though, skips in front of Webb. Got a stick on it. Also the whistle being blown, and call goes against Southern Virginia. So 13:33 to go in the first quarter. That's where the clock stops, and it's going to be free position chance for Dumas. 2 for 6 against Averett. Gets our first free position shot of the day. Dumas versus Webb. Dumas comes out on top. Lynchburg strikes first and leads 1-0. Goal number 4 of the season for Dumas. And that is now sole possession of a team best for Lynchburg. Here's another glance at the goal. Dumas now 3 for 7 in free position chances this season. We're going to get back to that 83.3% mark where it was in 2020. Hornets strike first. Players back to midfield. Tori King at the line for Lynchburg. Stands juxtaposed to Skylar Rowe, sophomore from Lee Summit, Missouri. Long pause. Excuse me, make that Chloe Mitchell. Had the wrong player ID'd at midfield for Southern Virginia. It was King opposite of Mitchell. Draw control win for the Hornets. Nonetheless, Sullivan flings it behind the net. Shot from Tori King. She was the cutter. It's a nice feed coming from Dara Gregory, senior from Maryland, with a nice find. Set up King for a nice scoring chance. Once again, the whistle goes against Southern Virginia. Free position chance for King. They're going to reset the shot clock, going down from 89 to 78. See it in the backside of your screen now. Shot clock adjusted. King set. Playback underway. King sends it right to Webb, who's there to make the stop. First save of the day for Jessica Webb. That becomes the 20th on her season. Natalie Ewell gets it across midfield. Ewell with 4 goals and 2 assists so far this season. 3 goals, 2 assists coming against Bridgewater. Southern Virginia brings it around the net. Now it's with Skylar Rowe. Rowe takes a glance towards the cutter, Alyssa Johnson. Instead, will hold on to it. Gets it just in front of the net. Shot from Adelaide Smith. Stop made by Rogers. And Southern Virginia still looking for their first score of the day. Second all-time meeting between these two squads. The first was back on April 17th of 2021. Lynchburg came out on top, 23-13, and really played a great second half, taking down the Knights in the next 30 minutes, 14-6. Santora had 5 goals in that game. Dumas had 4. They're the highest scoring returners for Lynchburg. Shot, score, Dumas does it again. Screen assist goes to Ala Daniel. But goal number 2 for Dumas, number 5 on the year. The grad student out to a hot start in the home opener for Lynchburg. And it's now 2-0 Hornets with just under 11.5 to play in the first quarter of action. And we'll have some subs on for Lynchburg. Elise Henderson, accompanied by Carly Hughes, in addition to Peyton Salville. Out on the turf, see a shot on the sideline. Dumas welcomed back in by Coach Bruce Reed. 20th season leading this Lynchburg program. 13 consecutive winning seasons for Coach Reed. Hornets are 2-0 to start the year. Looking for win number 3. Wanting to stay perfect. Hornets certainly out on the right foot. Henderson at midfield opposite of Mitchell. Whistle will give Southern Virginia the draw control win. Ewell gets past Salville, takes the shot, beats Rogers, and now the Knights work their way into the scoring column, cut the deficit in half to make it 2-1. Take another look. Goal scored by Natalie Ewell, her 5th on the season. Had a step on her defender, took advantage of the chance, and puts the Knights on the board for the first time this afternoon. 11:15 to go in the first quarter. Mitchell trots back out towards midfield. She'll go toe-to-toe with Elise Henderson once more. Henderson, a sophomore from Pinehurst, North Carolina. And Mitchell on the other side, a senior from Washington, played and started all 41 games in her Knights career. 23 goals, 11 assists a season ago. Johnson controls, moves into the attacking third. Now picked up by Jordan Nilsson. Johnson forced to retreat out. Gets the pass, taken away. Nilsson generates the turnover. Looking forward, Santora, cross midfield, into the attacking third. Closest defender is Roxy LeBaron. Santora stops, spins, lost control. Ball still live. And picking up the ground ball is Carly Hughes, the junior from East Newmarket, Pacific, Maryland. No pathway to Webb. That was Michelle Perkins. I'll pass it off to Gregory. Patrolling right. Sawville to Santora. Takes the shot, point-blank range. Whistle blown. Penalty goes against Southern Virginia. Stops the clock with 10:04 to go in the first. Now Nikki Santora will have her first free position chance on the day. And actually, I apologize. There was a goal. Didn't see the net move. Santora finds home and beats Webb to make it 3-1 Lynchburg. Again, I apologize for not seeing that, but the net was unwavered. But it's now a 3-1 contest. Henderson opposite of Mitchell once again. Kicked ahead, ground ball, in and out of the stick of Perkins. Is then able to regain possession, finds Santora. Nearly a picture-perfect pass to Derek Gregory, but off the stick and out of play it goes. Just under 10 to go in the opening quarter of play. Southern Virginia coming off a 7-8 season. They went 0-4 in conference play. Made it to the coast-to-coast quarterfinals before seeing their season come to a close. This year, looking to build upon that success. Coach Rainey Whitworth, her third season leading this Knights program, former player for Southern Virginia. And still ranks among the top of many a statistical categories for the Knights. Also earned second-team all-conference recognition after her final season of playing. And to talk about the stats, how about Whitworth, second all-time in goals for the program, 92 in her career. Ground balls picked up, 111. Collins turnovers at 52. Free position goals at 19, you name it. Rainey Whitworth's name's towards the top of number of program records. Madison Knight patrols to her left. Sullivan for Perkins. One more pass. Derek Gregory sent towards the baseline. Whistle blown to go against Roxy LeBaron, sophomore from Crossfield, Alberta, Canada. Less than 60 to go on the shot clock. Carly Hughes works right. Takes the shot, denied by Webb. Webb picks up the ground ball as well. Now the Knights offense gets into motion, looking to cut the deficit in half once more. The lone goal so far today for Southern Virginia, supplied by Natalie Ewell, her fifth on the year. Ewell with Chloe Mitchell combined for 40 goals last year. Another created turnover. Santora works left, beats Webb. Her second on the afternoon. Lynchburg now leads 4-1. Goal number 5 of the year for Santora. First two goals on the day supplied by Leah Dumas. The second two coming from Nikki Santora. You see the most recent. Santora, a transfer from William Smith College, 60 goals, 70 assists. And also took part in 3 Liberty League titles while with William Smith College. Transfers to Lynchburg last year, 40 goals, ranks 9th in the conference. and scored at least once in every game played last season. Well, now she's got 45 career goals as a Hornet. 105 you want to track her time with William Smith College. All to say that Santora's illustrious women's lacrosse career continues. Grad student hailing from Massachusetts. Her brother CJ Santor, former player and coach, men's lacrosse program for the Hornets. Bouncing ball forward, Daniel gobbles it up. Sends it back towards the middle. Sullivan navigates through traffic. Able to get it back out. Whistle blown. Call goes against the Knights. 7:45 to go in the first quarter. The foul sets up Mia Sullivan to take a free position chance. Sullivan, a junior from Connecticut, has her shot. Short hop the posts. Knocked away by Leah Dumas. Dumas creates the turnover, unable to pick up the ground ball. So ultimately it's back with Southern Virginia. And starting possession for the Knights, Latupu Militalo, freshman from Lexington, Virginia. Picked up 4 ground balls this year. 3 against Roanoke, 1 against Bridgewater. Seven minutes to play in the first quarter. Dumas to Ala Daniel, junior from Salem, Virginia. 2 goals so far for Daniel. Trots left, finds Perkins. Perkins finds Santora cutting towards the post. Santora with a hat trick already. Santora had 3 against Averett, 3 already today. And a timeout called by Coach Rainey Whitworth. Let's take another look at the score. And truthfully, a really nice find for Michelle Perkins. Goes down as her first assist on the season. And that's the name of the game a lot of times. If you're going to work behind the net, try to find your best passer, not only with accuracy, being able to get the pass off, but also vision. What can you see? Where are the openings? Especially when you have players like Dora Gregory and obviously Nikki Santora, Leah Dumas, those players who can occupy space and finish in front of the net. You can set them up with good goal-scoring opportunities. Some momentum carries them towards the net. It's obviously a good thing, and Lynchburg's done that with great success. Out in front, 5-1 in the early goings, a little more than midway through the first quarter. 10-2 shot advantage for the Hornets. 8-2 when it comes to shots on goal. 1 save so far for Patricia Rogers, with 3 for Jessica Webb on the other side. But a strong showing to start in the home opener for Lynchburg. Looking to elevate to 3-0 on the season. Speaking about Lynchburg and playing at home, a season ago the Hornets went 5-2, certainly played well here on Schellenberger Field. All in part of a 10-6 regular season. 5-3 conference record for Lynchburg. Saw the Hornets win postseason game in the ODAC quarterfinals over Guilford before falling to Washington and Lee in the ODAC semis, falling to the Generals 18-8. But under Coach Reed, Lynchburg had a knack of being able to make it to semifinals. Talked about the loss last year against Washington and Lee. Lynchburg also reached the semis in 2007, 2010, 2011, 12, 15, and 16. And Lynchburg, under Coach Reed's tenure, made to the ODAC title game back in 2010. They're going to take the next step this season and get back that championship contest. Draw control up. It was Mitchell working against Tori King. Picking up the ground ball is Johnson. Second team coast-to-coast conference a season ago. Nielsen extends the stick. Flings it ahead. Gregory brings it back towards the center of the turf. Has Daniel. Daniel ahead for Dumas. Takes the shot. Goes high left 90 and finds home. Lynchburg stretches the lead to 6-1. Six goals today for the Hornets already. 3 from Santora, 3 from Dumas. Here's the most recent for the Maine native. Again, finding that cutter and Dumas point-blank range. It's tough to come up with stops anytime you're in that spot, and Lynchburg's been able to engineer some great looks against the likes of Jessica Webb. Hornets ahead by 5. And the second all-time meeting between these two sides. Mitchell and King once more at midfield. And the whistle blown. Instead of King, it was actually Peyton Saville at midfield, and she was sent to the turf. Leading to the call, it has possession with the Hornets. Pepper Searle just checked in for Southern Virginia. Stands right around midfield. The Knights are able to get on the offensive. Might see her become a factor, but right now it's Lynchburg controlling. Carly Hughes takes the unofficial screen from Henderson. Back out to Santora. Thought about it. Instead, sends it behind the net. Gregory receives the pass right as the whistle is blown. Looks like the call is going to go against Olatalo. Santora, just under 5.5 to go. Passes it off. Sullivan, now back to Gregory. Sullivan, pass fake. Unable to make any progress towards the net itself. So he goes back to Derek Gregory. Poked away. Nice play made by LeBaron. He's there to pick up the loose ball. After getting the ground ball, flings it towards her keeper, Webb. And Southern Virginia have a chance to build some offensive momentum outside of the one goal from Ewell. It's been quiet in that aspect of the game so far for the Knights. In and out of the stick of Holly Cunna. Senior from Utah gets it back. Controls on the far side. Cunna played in every game since she's gotten to Southern Virginia. Started every game but one. That came in her freshman season. Michaela Martin brings it out. Still on the far side. Adelaide Smith. Over to Searle. I mentioned checked in just a moment ago. Searle looks in the direction of Martin. Unable to complete the pass. And it rolls harmlessly across the far baseline. Far end line, I should say. Hornets regain possession, still with the advantage in the shots department. 9-2 per the scoreboard, overlooking Schellenberger Field. 11-2 if you're looking at the live stats. Pass wide from Knight, trying to find Gregory. And turnover goes against the Hornets this time around, and it's LeBaron. Start off the possession for the Knights. LeBaron looking long. Cunna has it go off the stick and across the near sideline. And that's ultimately been the shortcoming for Southern Virginia. Even the goal from Ewell, she picked up the loose ball and just had a step. Every player on the defensive side for Lynchburg and created the opportunity by herself. Passing just hasn't been very crisp to start for Coach Whitworth and the Knights. This time it's Lynchburg with the passing volley. Santora gets it back. Less than 3 to play in the first quarter. Working to her right, Santora in front of Johnson. Has the shot go wide right. Picked back up by Perkins. Shot. And then it rolls through the back of the net. That's an unfortunate bounce if you are a Southern Virginia fan. It was Carly Hughes taking the shot. And the Knights had a chance to clear, unable to pick up the ground ball, instead sent it into the net. But now we have a conference as both teams are huddled up in front of the posts. We'll take another look at that potential own goal. There's the shot and save. And as it was loose, it goes up and over the head of Webb. Clock stops with 2:37 to play. The scoreboard still shows 6-1. Now they'll announce the goal and change it to 7-1. Be interesting to see who they credit that most recent score with, because if you're using the rules of soccer, it's going to be last offensive player to touch it or perhaps the closest to the net. And they have not officially announced who was going to get that goal. If I had to guess, though, Carly Hughes makes some sense. She took the shot that then resulted in that play, unfolding as it did. Southern Virginia gets back to work on the offensive side. Pass fake from Johnson. Latalo just in front of midfield. Stoppage in play. 2:04 to go in the first quarter, and it allows for a Lynchburg player to reset their headband. Sullivan nearly generated the turnover. Opportunistic play by the junior, but Southern Virginia able to maintain possession. Cunna moves into the attacking third. Cunna has Smith. Smith retreats all the way back to towards the blue line. We're on Schellenberger Field. Beautiful day for lacrosse. Right around low 70s. Time of this game getting underway. Ewell backs it out to John. John patrols right. Whistle blown. This time the call goes against Lynchburg. So now a free position chance for the Knights. Pass goes to Johnson. Finishes in the face of Patricia Rogers, and just like that, Alyssa Johnson garners her first score of her junior campaign. Been quite to the first two games, but Johnson 63 points last year through 47 goals, 16 assists. You knew it was just a matter of time before Johnson finds home. Her first goal of the year comes against Lynchburg, and it makes it 7-2. 76 seconds to go in the first quarter. And if I believe I saw the play right, Tyler John should get the assist. That would be John's second of the year. Tori King, opposite of Chloe Mitchell, for the draw control. And speaking of draw controls, Lynchburg with 4 wins to this point. Southern Virginia statted with 3. Sent up into the Lynchburg sky. Gathered by Johnson. Ahead for Ewell. Closest defender is Alla Daniel. Ewell back to Johnson. Right around the center of the turf in the attacking third. Johnson. Pass to Chloe Mitchell. Nothing comes thereafter. Instead, the freshman Rogers flings it long. Daniel able to gather and control the pass. Dumas down the center of the turf will take the shot herself. It has the shot short hop the post and go up and over the top bar. Lynchburg tries to play the advantage and move quickly. 26.8 to go in the first quarter. That's where play stops. Nikki Santor with a chance to get goal number 4 in the afternoon. And they're going to turn the shot clock off due to the time discrepancy. Nearly another own goal there for the Knights, but Webb able to stop it from rolling through and finding the back of the net. It doesn't look like Southern Virginia is going to force the issue. Instead, Addison England passes over to Latalo. Now it's on the far side with Ewell, and the final seconds of the first quarter tick away. 7-2, your score through 15 minutes of action. We'll step aside and come back with the second quarter between the Knights and the Hornets on LHSN.
Your Lynchburg Hornets 7, Southern Virginia 2.
When you come to the University of Lynchburg to earn a master's degree in athletic training, you'll spend time in the classroom, but you'll also spend a lot of time in our top-notch facilities learning from athletic trainers and working closely with our student athletes. In the Graduate Cadaver Lab, you'll learn about the human body in the best way possible, by actually studying the human body. This will provide a foundation to make you a much better athletic trainer. In the Athletic Training Laboratory, you'll get hands-on experience, practicing your skills, applying concepts from the classroom, and working with faculty on research projects. It's also where our hydrotherapy facilities are. This space is also used by students for studying and practicing skills outside of class time. In the Sports Medicine Clinic and Turner Gymnasium, you'll work with student athletes from more than 20 NCAA Division III sports teams, helping get them back to practice and into the game as soon as possible. As an athletic training student, you're a big part of the success of our sports teams and the success of the local athletic teams. We see this relationship as a win-win situation. You learn, and that helps us win.
Welcome back to Lynchburg, Virginia, getting you set for the second quarter. But first, for those Lynchburg fans watching, I want to update you on scores from around the rest of the world of Hornets athletics. Softball took on Keene College today and fell to Keene 3-2 earlier today. Women's tennis and men's tennis both at Shenandoah, and both Lynchburg teams currently ahead 2-1 over Shenandoah. Baseball just went final, took down York in Game 2 of a weekend set, 8-6. Hornets topped the Spartans. And men's lacrosse earlier today fell short against number 2 Salisbury, 15-6. And here you're watching this women's lacrosse contest on LHSN. Hornets out in front, 7-2 over Southern Virginia. DJ Wingert here with you for all the action. Thank you, everybody, for spending some time with us on your Saturday afternoon. Lynchburg looking to elevate to 3-0 and looking for win number 1 at home in the 2022 campaign. Looking good so far. 7 scores include 3 from Dumas, 3 from Santora. And you can make it 4 for Santora as she was officially credited the own goal scored by Southern Virginia. So it's 4 for Santora, 3 for Dumas. We're getting set for the draw control to get us underway in the second. Mitchell and King, seen a lot of those two at midfield. Possession going to be given to Lynchburg. Getting you up to date on some of the other stats after 15 minutes and counting. 16-3 shot advantage for Lynchburg over Southern Virginia, and 12-3 advantage when it comes to shots on goal It's interesting. You look at the Southern Virginia team coming into today's play. Really solid shot on goal percentage, 86.1%, and today it's at 100%. So the Knights have been able to, when they've gotten looks, put it on frame and at least force Patricia Rogers to either come up with a stop or, if she doesn't, it results in a goal. Ground ball picked up. Chloe Mitchell hits the brakes. Dumas able to jar it away. Picked up then by King. Daniel ahead. Sullivan controlled. Now it's back with Dumas. Dumas takes the shot. Denied by Webb. Santora trying to pick up the ground ball, but instead it's gathered by Josie Skopek for Southern Virginia. The Knights now into the attacking third. This is Adelaide Smith trying to work it to the center of the turf, and the pass taken away by the Hornets. And in specific, Mia Sullivan, the junior from Connecticut. A nice defensive play. Santora over to King. Talking more about Sullivan. An assist and a ground ball picked up in the win against Averett. This becomes the second start of the season for Sullivan. Figured to see her a whole lot in the midfield and on the defensive side. Also there to make a play, Micah Slacum, senior from Cambridge, Maryland. 2021 third team All-ODAC. One of those anchor defenders for the Hornets. Name that might not rack up a whole lot of the stats that you look at in a box score, but the importance that Slacum handles Lynchburg defense is profound. England picked up the ground ball, but a player down on the turf forces play to stop. 12:51 to go in the first half. Athletic trainer on the field. An unfortunate incident here for the Hornets. Player down. Haven't been able to see a number. Lynchburg in the driver's seat here. 12:51 to go in the first half. We're going to take this opportunity to step aside. We'll come back, update you on who the player is down, and hopefully we'll see them come back to their feet. You're watching Lynchburg in Southern Virginia on LHSN.
Never think that your donation is in vain, because you're helping out hundreds of students that are just like me, who need a shot and who are getting one. Without donations, without you individuals that are helping to donate to the university and the Lynchburg Fund, there would be no student body president, Davion Washington. There'd probably be I'm stuck at home, Davion Washington. Not only is your donation building leaders, but it's building leaders like myself and others that will hopefully want to pay it forward one day and you do the same thing. I know for a fact that, when I have it, because I will, I want to give back to this university that provided me a home for 4 years.
Leah Dumas back up and on her feet, and that is a welcome sign for Lynchburg. One, because Dumas, an important player for this Hornets team, but furthermore, just any player. Obviously, you want to see them be able to get back up, but Dumas has been very impactful today. 3 goals, up to 6 on the season, holding the back of the head. So didn't see exactly what caused Dumas to hit the turf when we looked at some replays during the break, but hopefully all is well. We'll continue to update you where we see Dumas as she moves along the sideline, gets worked on by the athletic trainers, and hopefully we'll see Leah Dumas return to today's game. Play back underway. Sullivan, after the turnover from the Knights, hits the brakes, trying to get it back out to Carly Hughes. Whistle blown. They'll bring Sullivan back down towards the center of the turf. She'll parlay it over to Daniel. Lynchburg pass it around. Against a zone look for Southern Virginia, primarily what we've seen so far this afternoon. Perkins over again to Santora, less than 60 to go in the shot clock. Santora roaming right. Daniel has Hughes. Hughes spins left. The shot denied by Webb. Jessica Webb here in the second quarter. Coming up with some big stops. Trying to keep Southern Virginia in it. Trailing by 5. Webb doing her part. Now it's on the offense. The Knights to pick it up. Turnover won't help. Stutter step from Daniel. Gets it over to Hughes. Adjacent to the net, this is Perkins. Back out to Hughes. Closest defender is Skopek. Lynchburg reverses, sends it to the far side. Now back in the middle of the field. Hughes against Skopek. Pass off the mark. Ground ball. Picked up by Ewell. Some contact, and it looks like Ewell tripped up. Possession earned by Southern Virginia after getting the stop. And again, the onus has got to be turning it into points now. In the first half of last year's meeting between these two sides, much closer than the second, 14-6. Lynchburg took the second set of 30. For Southern Virginia, you're hoping to learn from last year's matchups. The shot comes from Johnson. Short hops the post and goes up and over and across the end line. Now Lynchburg takes over, trying to fling it forward for Sullivan. Pass left a little short. Lotalo in the mix, trying to get the ground ball. Instead, whistle blown. It'll go against Southern Virginia, but you can see that point. Last year's meeting, much closer in the first half than the second. So for the Knights, I think the emphasis has been try to keep it close. Defense has done a good job here for the most part in the first half. The damages primarily come from Santora and Dumas. Right now, you're only down by 5. Anything's possible at this point. Keep it close, hang around, and find a way to generate some offense. Skopek, picked up by 2 Hornet defenders. Has Chloe Mitchell. Mitchell with 23 goals last year, 2 so far this season. Johnson, one of the 2 scores today for the Knights. Shuffles it back. Gets to Bailey Bruce, freshman from Sandy, Utah. Smith gives Searle. Pass intended for Tyler John. Pass, though, too tall. And as it goes out, the Hornets pick it back up on the offensive side. At least Henderson comes on for Lynchburg. Gives Tori King a chance to catch her breath on the sideline. Nilsson looking long. Wanted Henderson. Couldn't connect on the first attempt. Henderson had to pop in and out of the stick. Ultimately there to get it back is Santora. Perkins. In front of Skopek. More contact. And another foul going against Southern Virginia. Skopek the guilty party. And from the near side, this is a tough angle for Perkins to shoot through. Certainly could be a drive and kick spot. Perkins over to Santora. And the face of Webb, another stop made by the junior. Here in the second quarter, Jessica Webb has been able to put up a 0 next to the Lynchburg line, and we're nearly halfway through the second quarter. Hornets maintain possession. Sullivan brings it around and gives it to Santora. It's now with Carson Quigley. Back to Santora. Dropping her defender. That was Sullivan. Trying to find Saville. Shot over the top post. Out of play it goes. It's going to stay with Lynchburg. 55 seconds to go on the shot clock. A little less than 7 to play in the first half. Pass goes to Santora. Another shot for the grad student. And another save for Webb. Natalie Ewell will check back on once it gets across midfield. Which is now, and they'll sort out who Ewell is coming on for. Adelaide Smith lost the stick and obviously possession with it. Saville into the attacking third. Closest defender being Holly Cunna. Tries to find Quigley. Sent back out beyond the attacking third. Santora regains possession and a timeout called by Coach Bruce Reed. A bit of a clunky possession for the Hornets. Working back and forth as opposed to maintaining possession in the attacking third and working around the clock and continuing the success that they had in the first quarter. And that probably a part of why you see the timeout being used by Coach Reed as well. 7-2 the lead at the end of the first quarter. We've been scoreless nearly 9 minutes through in the second. And that's not to say Lynchburg hasn't been able to get looks and haven't had good looks at that point. You know, there have been chances, but some of the onus has to go to Jessica Webb, playing really well here in the second set of 15 and has faced a number of shots from point-blank range from the likes of Dumas, Santora, and company. Most recently was Carson Quigley letting it fly. But Webb's been there to make the stop. So for Southern Virginia, you're really happy with where this game has settled into. It's still a 5-point differential where we were after 15. Meanwhile, Coach Reed looking to reignite the offense. We saw waste no time getting scoring underway. Not even a minute into the game, Leah Dumas gave us our first score. That was then followed up by Dumas' second on the day. Then Southern Virginia got on the board with a goal scored by Natalie Ewell. Then it was Nikki Santora for 3 in a row to make it 5-1. Then another for Leah Dumas to make it 6-1. The own goal that then was credited to Nikki Santora. And towards the very end of the first quarter, it was Alyssa Johnson garnering her first goal of her junior season. And now, 6:05 to go till we reach halftime, and same score. And a chance here for Lynchburg to try to spark the offense to get it back to where it was in the first quarter. And again, it feels like, given that Lynchburg's gotten good looks, feels like once you see one hit the back of the net, production will start to follow suit. Playback underway. Quigley for Henderson. And he'll stay on the far side. Sullivan back behind the net. Perkins already with an assist today. She got the helper on Santora's third of 4 goals today. Tracking right. Seville finds Quigley. Little backhanded shot. Does the job. Quigley makes it 8-2 Lynchburg. Take another look at first collegiate score for Carson Quigley. Moment she'll remember for sure. Had her back towards the net. Flicks it home. Able to sneak it past Jessica Webb, and you could say that goal broke the ice a little bit for Lynchburg. And if you're a Hornets fan, you're hoping to see a lot more scores come to follow before we reach halftime. Again, the first collegiate goal for Carson Quigley. Makes it a 6-goal lead once more for the Hornets. Mitchell opposite of Henderson. We've had a long draw, no pun intended, from these draw controls. Johnson with the ground ball. Back to Mitchell. Over to Ewell on that three. In order, Johnson, Ewell, Mitchell. 3 big-time returners when it comes to scoring output. Those 3 so far in the season have combined for 8. The shots to find the back of the net. That's 8 of 15 on the season for Southern Virginia as a team. Bailey Bruce wraps it around behind the net. Spin against Saville. Whistle blown. Center your screen. That's Bruce. Jay next to Patricia Rogers. Foul brings an early close to the possession for the Knights. Lynchburg takes back over, less than 5 to play until we reach halftime. Starting up the possession, Slacum. Saville over to Santora. Breaks towards the center of the turf. Into the attacking third and back to Saville. Lynchburg is a team averaging 16 goals a game in the young season. Pass wide. Past the outstretched stick of Gregory. Virginia takes back over. Been a quiet second quarter, as we noted, only 1 score so far. A ton of credit to both defenses, but also for the offense. It's had a hard time, the passing department, maintaining possession. Jarred away by Santora. Picked up by Madison Knight. Knight works up the near sideline. The defender coming up from behind is Altalo. Wrapping all the way around was Gregory. Pass off the mark. Santora there to back up the play. Quigley to Sullivan. Gregory once more. Now over to Michelle Perkins, sophomore from Gainesville, Virginia. Santora to Saville. Spins to split the difference between Mitchell and Johnson. Shot off the mark and goes out across the left end line. Perkins has Quigley. And Quigley had the pass for a moment. Ultimately, it pops out of the stick, and Webb there to pick it up. Looking long. Intended target being Skopek. Instead, Nilsson gathers. Has Sawville. Far side, defended by Abby Pepperone. Sophomore from Orem, Utah. Perkins gives to Santora. Just checking back in was Ala Daniel. She gets the feed from Santora. Rolls right for fresh legs. Santora then cut in behind her. No angle to complete the pass. Tori King. Once more working to her right. Derek Gregory. Finds Daniel. Shot off the mark. 100 seconds to go in the first half. Perkins trying to navigate between 2 defenders. Flag out of the pocket for our official. And it looks like a card given to Addison England. Heads to the sideline. down on a knee in the penalty box.
Southern Virginia, number 7, Addison England.
1 minute penalty. Lynchburg with a chance to play her up. Now play gets back underway. King over to Daniel. Cutting towards net. Pass intended for Carly Hughes. Unable to connect. Ewell falls down and is in a lot of pain. And as Ewell is down, she will be tended to by the athletic trainers, and we will step aside once again. Getting close to halftime. Your score, 8-2, Lynchburg out in front of Southern Virginia.
If you like being close with your professors, if you like being in small classes that help with one-on-one, if you like being in positive communities that help you train your weak points and strengthen your strong points, then the University of Lynchburg is a great place to go. You can never go wrong with the amount of help that they offer, the amount of self-sacrifice that other people will put in for you. It has a beautiful campus, it has dedicated teachers, it has nice students, it has fun activities, and it has plenty of things to do.
I was looking for a school that could provide me with the athletics, academics to pursue my career, a wind symphony to pursue my passion for music, and really have a nice general atmosphere. The professors here are really unique, their background and their passion for teaching. It's really a place where you can explore. Lynchburg gives you the opportunity to fail, but also get back up in that period of time and learn from your mistakes. I can make these mistakes within the school environment, but also with the support of other friends, and be ready for the real world when you graduate.
Living the dream. USA, Mexico. I was so excited.
Natalie Ewell helped towards the sideline, hoping the best for the senior from Oak Grove, Missouri. And we'll continue to update you if we see her moving along across the sideline, or potentially even see her come back into the game. But Natalie Ewell off the turf, and a little less than a minute to go till we reach halftime. Tough break there for Southern Virginia. one of their top 3 returners. Ewell pound the back of the net for the 5th time of her senior season, earlier in this contest. And on a day where Southern Virginia's had a tough day generating some offense, to lose one of your 3 impactful players, that is certainly tough. And compounding that, a senior in a heap of pain, that is obviously not a good sight as well. Mitchell causes the turnover, gets it to Webb. Now back with Mitchell, and similar to how the first quarter brought a close, presume to see more of the same here from Southern Virginia. Going to kill off the remaining clock. Hear the buzzer sound, getting it across midfield. Holly Cunna even navigates her way into the attacking third, but we've reached halftime. 80 through 30 minutes, Lynchburg out in front, 8-2. We'll step aside and come back and talk about some of the stats from the first 30 minutes of action. You're watching the Hornets and the Knights on LHSN.
Lynchburg really stood out for me just because of the way it treated its students. They really do make an effort here. And I've learned that over my 4 years, is that they actually do try to listen to what the student body wants, and they try to act on that. They don't really just give you a piece of paper here to then go off and do your own thing. They actually prepare you to work with different populations, which is what the world is all about. It's just working with people that are different than you. They genuinely care that everyone has the ability to go off into the world and make a difference with whatever they like. For me, that's just being basically in a room with someone, helping them achieve their first goal of, doing a pull-up. I actually do believe they want you to do the best you can to change someone's life for the better. You can be anyone here, which I think is really cool. But regardless of who you are here, they will make sure you don't fall through the cracks, which is awesome. I have realized that I've never felt lost here. I will not regret ever coming here, that's for sure. So I'm very glad that I came here. Yeah, it's actually pretty awesome.
Halftime over Schellenberger Field. Lynchburg out in front of Southern Virginia, 8-2. We get you set for everything you need to know in the second half. Let's talk about what we saw in the first half while we show some highlights from the first 30 minutes of action. Lynchburg ahead by 6, holds a 24-4 shot advantage, a commanding lead in that department. Handful of saves being made by Jessica Webb, specifically in the second quarter. Webb played really stellar in the second set of 15. Just one to this point per the scoreboard over Shelley for Patricia Rogers. And doing the scoring today through the first half, 4 goals for Nikki Santora, 3 for Leah Dumas, and then the first in the college career for Carson Quigley, freshman from Fairfax Station in Northern Virginia. And on the other side, 1 goal scored by Natalie Yule, who we saw leave late at the end of the second quarter. Hopefully we'll be able to see more of Yule today. And the second goal for the Knights coming from Melissa Johnson, her first of her junior campaign. And when it comes to possession, we don't necessarily have a stat tracking this, but you got to think in that department, huge edge goes to the favor of the Hornets, probably somewhere in the category or in the range of 75 to 80%. Time of possession in the hands of Lynchburg, and they dominated in that department, and specifically in the attacking third. You saw the Hornets reside there for a majority of what we saw in the first half, and even the goals for Southern Virginia a lot of times comes from Ewell and Johnson beating the player in front of them and getting to the net and able to finish from point-blank range, as opposed to what we've seen from Lynchburg. A lot of passing, working around, using the clock to their advantage, and finding cutters in front of the net to get good looks against the keeper, Jessica Webb. Those are some of the takeaways and some of the numbers from the first 30 minutes of play. We'll step aside and come back, talk about adjustments both teams can make. Get you set for everything you need to know in the second half. You're watching Lynchburg, Southern Virginia Women's College Lacrosse on LHSN.
Today's a rough day. Jess and I are officially on a break. The couple canoe has broken up.
How you feeling? Living the dream.
Just canoeing. That's the Mexican side behind me. The U.S. is that way.
So far, we're all still alive.
I really want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Woo! We did it! Kind of.
The biggest thing that I've taken from Westover is probably my interactions with faculty. I started working with Dr. Fryer. He's always available for help, and he makes sure that I get to do the experiments and not just be there while he does them. I didn't want to limit myself when I came here to just taking the prereqs for med school. I wanted to get a full, well-rounded education, and I definitely found that in the Westover program. It's given me the opportunity to keep playing soccer at a competitive level, but also it's given me the ability to be a student and to pursue other activities such as EMS. "100% do Westover because it's not something they're going to regret, and it's going to be a lot of work, but so is everything else. It's just going to help build their education that they've already had and make them a better person for it."
When you come to the University of Lynchburg to earn a master's degree in athletic training, you'll spend time in the classroom, but you'll also spend a lot of time in our top-notch facilities learning from athletic trainers and working closely with our student athletes. In the Graduate Cadaver Lab, you'll learn about the human body in the best way possible, by actually studying the human body. This will provide a foundation to make you a much better athletic trainer. In the Athletic Training Laboratory, you'll get hands-on experience, practicing your skills, applying concepts from the classroom, and working with faculty on research projects. It's also where our hydrotherapy facilities are. This space is also used by students for studying and practicing skills outside of class time. In the Sports Medicine Clinic and Turner Gymnasium, you'll work with student athletes from more than 20 NCAA Division III sports teams. helping get them back to practice and into the game as soon as possible. As an athletic training student, you're a big part of the success of our sports teams and the success of the local athletic teams. We see this relationship as a win-win situation. You learn, and that helps us win.
Your score in Lynchburg, Virginia, getting you set for the second half. Hornets and the Knights duking it out on LHSN. Thank you, everybody, for spending some time with us on your Saturday afternoon. TJ Wingard here with you, take you through all the action. As we get set for the second half, let's talk about adjustments both sides can make. And really for the Knights, it's going to be tough with Natalie Ewell still down on the bench. But maybe use the effort that Ewell used and try to rally around that. And a lot of times in sports, you'll see a player go down and the team's able to buoy up and gets a little bit of a boost there. But really on the offensive side, that's where the focus has to be made for Southern Virginia and Coach Whitworth. And really comes down to trying to get more than just a single pass in a possession. And we talked about this during the halftime segment. Even Ewell and Johnson scores, I should say, came as a fact of them beating the defender across from them. Lynchburg's been able to move the ball around and, operate as a clock and try to find a cutter. And there's been 4, 5, 6, 7+ passes in a sequence and in possession. Haven't really seen the same for Southern Virginia. And if they're able to do that in the second half, you might start to see some more openings, right? Just think about how fast lacrosse ball moves compared to a person. Now think about what that can do, try to open up some space, create some opportunities for you, especially in the second half as you find yourself down by 6. Just the second all-time meeting between these two sides. Southern Virginia looking for their first all-time win against Lynchburg. Players at midfield, moments away from the second half, getting started. It's primarily been Mitchell and King. It's the same duo here. King not only wins the draw control, but gets possession herself, steams forward down the center of the turf, swings it over to Sullivan. Now it's with Gregory. Dekes her defender, takes a close shot. Save for Webb and a second chance opportunity where Gregory trying to work quick and flings it up and over the top post. Leah Dumas works right, takes the shot, another save for Jessica Webb. And Webb continues to play really stellar. Only allowed 1 goal in the second quarter. A couple of big stops to start the second half. Adelaide Smith gets it ahead of Tyler John. Sophomore from Utah. Tracks to her right. Has Alyssa Johnson. She scored the second of the 2 goals today for SVU. Mitchell has Michaela Martin. Martin on the near side. Picked up by Kaylin Satterfield, sophomore from Baltimore, Maryland. 3rd team all-conference last season. They're one of those big-time defenders Lynchburg is relying on to have a big season. Or the Hornets try to travel far once we get to conference play. Abby Pepperone finds Mitchell. Pass knocked out of the stick, though, of Mitchell. For a moment, it was gathered by Nilsson. Instead picked up by Martin. Southern Virginia with another chance. The shot clock did not reset. It's down below 20. Johnson looking for space against Nilsson. Now Johnson looking for help. Gets past Nilsson, the shot. Off the top post. Ricochets all the way out towards the far sideline. Scooped up by Daniel. Across midfield, the junior steams forward. Passes ahead for Sullivan. Over to Santora. In front of the net, Perkins, the beneficiary. Michelle Perkins, her first on the day, first of the season. The sophomore makes it 9-2, Lynchburg ahead. Here's the goal one more time from the far side. And again, like we talked about at the start of the second half, the amount of passes and even a fast break sequence for Lynchburg. You compare that to what we've seen for Southern Virginia, and it's night and day. And the Hornets have just been able to cover more ground and do so quickly compared to what Southern Virginia has done on their offensive side. That's been the dichotomy so far. Here this leads to Michelle Perkins, making it 9-2. Now at midfield, it's King opposite of Mitchell once again. King, a sophomore, had 34 draw control wins a season ago. Mitchell had 12 coming into today. This one's sent towards Johnson, able to pick it up, earn the possession for the Knights. Johnson ahead for Mitchell. Pass fake, shot for Mitchell, misses tall. And King sent down to the turf. Not sure if she tripped up over herself or had her feet tangled up with Mitchell, which free position opportunity for Southern Virginia would lead me to believe it's probably the latter rather than the former. Mitchell faked the charge in, instead tried to back it out. It was jarred away by Nilsson. Picked up by the senior from Easton, Maryland. Perkins parlays it over to Santora. Pass not gathered by the grad student. Santora does track down the loose ball, though. Now it's with Daniel. Swinging it over to Mia Sullivan. King finds Sullivan. Had Nikki Santora flanked to her left. Instead, goes back to King. About half of the shot clock used up. It's King in front of Johnson. Screen left from Daniel. And as King spins, lost control. Ellie Marble picks it up. Marble, a freshman from Thomastown, Connecticut. First time calling out her name. And today becomes her first taste of college lacrosse. Congratulations to Ellie Marble. Did not play in either of the two games preceding this afternoon's contest with Lynchburg. Tyler John with a head of steam forward. Back pedals. Will retreat it all the way out. Kicks it over to Michaela Martin. Martin in front of Madison Knight. Able to find some space between both Knight and Satterfield, but nowhere to go after for Martin. John had it poked away. Satterfield going to be called for the penalty. Extended the arms. That sets up free position for Southern Virginia. John takes it herself. Unsure if she officially got a shot off. Nonetheless, the Hornets get another stop. Sullivan ahead for Santora. Now down the center of the turf, it's Dumas. One more pass. Dara Gregory finds the back of the net to make it 10-2 Lynchburg. First goal of the day for the senior, third of the season for Gregory. Take another look at it, and Lynchburg takes full advantage. The numbers mismatch forward. And Dumas finds Gregory, no one around her. And Jessica Webb has made a number of terrific stops today, but from that close against a player like Gregory, it's going to be tough. Lead grows to 8 for the Hornets. 29-5 shot advantage for Lynchburg. That really tells a story of this contest so far, not only with what we see on the scoreboard, but additionally just in regards to time of possession. 25-5 feels about right to what we've seen with both sides on the offensive end. little more than 10 minutes to play in the third. This time it was Mitchell against Henderson. They'll award possession to the Knights. Chloe Mitchell looking for help. Kicks it over to Josie Skopek, freshman from San Diego, California. On the near side, it's Tyler John. Tracking over to the center of the turf. John over to Olatalo. Another freshman getting significant playing time this afternoon. Olatalo has it knocked away. Another call to go against Lynchburg, and this time it goes against Peyton Saville. Sophomore from Perryville, Virginia. 12 games played last season. 3 ground balls picked up against Averett. And a player down on the turf. Looks like a stick might have come up too far and made some incidental contact with Kaylin Satterfield. Satterfield appears to be okay. Here it is one more time. Players going after loose ball, and Satterfield caught the worst of it. As the sun starts to set in Lynchburg, Virginia, shadows cascade across Schellenberger Field. Makes it that much harder specifically for the keepers, and narrowing it down a little bit more. Jessica Webb has it really tough. There's a shot of the field, and as those shadows are coming in your face, that sun is exactly in the eyesight of Jessica Webb. So especially when you get shots right in front of the net, it's going to be really tough for Webb to not only get it stopped, but just see the ball coming at her. Alyssa Johnson comes back on, and to the sideline goes Olatalo. And a yellow card is handed out on the play. It's a 2-minute penalty. So Lynchburg, a lot of time to work before we get back to even numbers. Nielsen works it ahead to Knight. Knight trying to center it up. Finds Peyton Saville, who takes care of the rest. Second goal of the season for the sophomore. Lynchburg ahead 11-2. Clock stops with 8:39 to play in the third quarter. Let's take another look at the first score of the day for Peyton Saville. Once again, nice passing sequence and lots of space for Saville to work with. Played in 12 games last year, continuing to make an impact now as a sophomore. It's 9 goals, 2 assists last year for Saville. This year, 2 scores. No assists just yet. Saville becomes the 5th different player for Lynchburg to reach the scoring column. Santora and Dumas combined for the first 7, 4 for Santora, 3 for Dumas. Then we saw Carson Quigley find home. Derek Gregory became the 4th, and most recently, of course, Peyton Saville. Henderson against Mitchell. Ground ball picked up by Saville. Looking for more. Over to Sullivan. Pass was off the stick. The aforementioned junior rolled out towards the far sideline. Lynchburg able to maintain possession. Pass to Henderson. Now with Carly Hughes. Lost it for a moment. Hughes marked up by Olatalo, who's back out on the turf now. Lynchburg Had a great second half a season ago against Southern Virginia, taking the latter 30 minutes their contest with the Knights 14-6 en route to the 23-13 win. And the second half of Lynchburg's win against Averett is eerily similar. It was 5-5 at halftime. That game ends 16-8 final score. All that to say, Lynchburg took the second half 11-3. If you're a Hornets fan, you're hoping to see more of that second half dominance carry in today. Lynchburg also should note 1 goal away from triggering the running clock, which for Southern Virginia makes it that much more difficult to try to mount the comeback. Coach Whitworth on the sideline calling for some off-ball movement. It's Johnson controlling the near side. Gets past Henderson. Shot just in front of the net. Goes off the top post. Ricochets all the way out. The Knights with another chance behind the net. Pass goes from Skylar Rowe out to Johnson. Johnson against Henderson. Shot. Save for Rogers. A ground ball gathered by Saville. Less than 6.5 to go in the third quarter. In a game that's felt like all Lynchburg from start to finish, it's starting to reflect that on the scoreboard. But give credit to Southern Virginia, not going down quietly, starting to get a nice run and a strung along possession, for the Knights. This is not as long as we've seen Southern Virginia maintain control in the attacking third. Got to start somewhere. Southern Virginia team looking for their first win of the season. This becomes the third consecutive ODAC opponent that the Knights have faced. Fell to Roanoke 19-1, then fell short against Bridgewater 16-12 today. A date with the Hornets. This is actually the first year that Southern Virginia is playing inside the USA South. Picked to finish second in the conference preseason poll. Lynchburg on the other side picked to finish third in the ODAC. Saville got the pass after cutting in. The shot skipped up in front of Webb, who's able to barrier the rest of it. Santora, make that Mia Sullivan, gets the loose ball. Pass goes to Santora, takes the shot, and buries it. Lynchburg up by 10. It's now 12-2 Hornets out for the Knights. 8th goal of the year for Santora. And her 5th on the day. She had 5 in last year's game against Southern Virginia. That's 5 already. 5:10 to go in the third. Here's the goal once more. And Santora has had everything she's wanted and then some. Had some close shots in the second that didn't hit the back of the net. So other than that one period, really, it's been everything Santora wanted and then some. Lynchburg up 12-2. Hornets averaging 16 goals per game after taking out Averett 16-8 behind a big second half. After the goal, timeout called by Rainey Whitworth. Talking more about Coach Whitworth for playing at Southern Virginia. Spent a year at Savannah College of Art and Design, part of a 2013 NAIA championship squad. After playing at Southern Virginia, became the head coach for the University of St. Mary's in Kansas. Was there for 2 years and then returned to her alma mater. 3rd season at the helm. Was hired in June of 2019, and then in the 2020 campaign, obviously, was shortened, but Southern Virginia got to a 6-0 start that season. Then last year, talked about it earlier in the broadcast, 7-8, and had an 0-4 conference record. Still made it to the coast-to-coast quarterfinals, but that is where their season came to a close. Now the Knights looking to build upon their momentum, and they're looking for win number 1 on the season. After today, Southern Virginia will be at Methodist to start conference action. That's on Thursday the 10th. Then next Saturday, he'll be back at home taking on Kenyon. And then on Tuesday, March 15th, another home contest for Southern Virginia, this one coming against Greensboro. Meanwhile, for Lynchburg, after today, it's another home game next Friday. That'll come to you on LHSN as the Hornets welcome the York Spartans to Schellenberger Field. And a couple days later, on Monday the 14th, it's a contest against Denison before taking on Franklin and Marshall on Wednesday, March 16th. Out of the timeout. Players back on the field, and I should note the games against Denison and Franklin and Marshall both being played in Haines City, Florida. So they're officially, quote-unquote, home games, but they're neutral site contests over the spring break period for Lynchburg students. I'm jealous they get to go to Florida. Got to be really nice this time of year. But I can't really complain. It's been beautiful in Lynchburg, Virginia. Got to see the baseball game earlier today. Now watching women's lacrosse. I've had everything I could have wanted and then some, and all while it's low to mid-70s all day long. Whole lot worse views to call an office, so to speak. Holly Cunna. Had possession before card comes out. It's going to go against Mia Sullivan. It's a yellow awarded to Lynchburg. Stops the clock with 4:44 to play. 2-minute penalty against the Hornets. Sullivan to the sideline. Chance for the Knights to take advantage of an opportunity on the offensive side, playing a player up. Cunna ahead for Michaela Martin. Martin might have had Johnson. Unable to get the pass off. Nice rotation coming for Lynchburg as well. A lot of credit there to Micah Slacum. Ground ball picked up by Madison Knight. The senior had 4 against Averett. They're very active in that department this afternoon as well. Nikki Santora flings it ahead. The sophomore Tori King. King had to go in and out of the stick of Gregory. Would have been a chance for the senior from Salisbury, Maryland to get her second goal on the afternoon. Less than 4 to go in the third now. Shot advantage for Lynchburg, by the way, 32-7. So it has come closer to even, but it's still at a large disparity favoring the Hornets. Once again, SVU into the attacking half. So we've seen a whole lot more of in the third quarter, and you could argue maybe more here in the third quarter than what we saw in the entire first half. Johnson controls. Working left, has Satterfield in front of her. Finds Tyler John. Remember the starting lineup today for Southern Virginia. John over to Martin. Martin finds a seam, attacks Rogers, has it hit the post twice. Ricochets out. Bad hop there for the Knights. Rogers gets it ahead to King, who absorbs a lot of contact from Falatupo Molatalo. Clock continues to roll, 2.5 to go in the third quarter. King will start up the possession for the Lynchburg Hornets. A couple subs on for the Knights, including Roxy LeBaron. Seen her make some nice defensive plays, hailing from Crossfield, Alberta, Canada. Daniel leaves it back for King. And Lynchburg certainly not in a rush on the offensive side. A spot in the game where the clock certainly in their favor. Spin move and a nice one at that from Daniel. Finds King, cutting towards the net. Shot wide left. But a nice opportunity created after we saw a whole lot of Southern Virginia on the attacking half. You want to see Lynchburg be able to respond to that. And nice opportunity and a good shot created for the Hornets. Nothing to show for it, but Lynchburg stays at it. Dumas with a seam. Nice save for Webb. Ricochets all the way out. It's Jordan Nilsson. Played in 9 games, had 6 starts. Battled some injuries last year. And if Nilsson can stay healthy this year, senior alongside fellow senior Micah Slacum and others on the defensive side for Lynchburg could create a really strong unit that end of the field. Tori King, you see her hand on that lower back. She'll stay out. She'll have the free position chance. Minute 19 to play in the third. King lets it fly, misses high and wide. Good scoring opportunity for the sophomore from Falls Church, Virginia. Lynchburg maintains possession, tried to get it to Santora, it was poked away, gobbled up by Mitchell. Addison England lost control after trying to cut towards the middle of the turf. So back to the hands of the Hornets. King finds Sullivan. Excuse me, make that Ala Daniel. Now it's Sullivan. Back to Daniel. Shot clock's turned off. We're down to final 30 seconds of quarter number 3. Lynchburg up by 10. 11-goal lead would mark the largest on the day. Dumas has scored 3 times already. Can she find number 4? Had to lean back. And the ball pops out of her stick. Ultimately, it's Jessica Webb there to pick it up. And we'll stop the clock with 2.8 to go in the third. Dumas was a little slow to get up. And they're going to adjust the clock to 3 seconds even. With one pass, those 3 seconds tick away, meaning we've made it through 45 minutes of action. Lynchburg up by 10. Hornets and the Knights get back to playing just under 2 minutes. Hope to have you with us for the fourth quarter here on LHSN.
Never think that your donation is in vain, because you're helping out hundreds of students that are just like me, who need a shot and who are getting one. Without donations, without you individuals that are helping to donate to the university and the Lynchburg Fund, there would be no student body president, Davion Washington. There'd probably be I'm stuck at home, Davion Washington. Not only is your donation building leaders, but it's building leaders like myself and others that will hopefully want to pay it forward one day and you do the same thing. I know for a fact that, when I have it, because I will, I want to give back to this university that provided me a home for 4 years.
Twelve to 2 your scores. We have reached the fourth quarter of action between Lynchburg and Southern Virginia. All that and more coming to you on LHSN. TJ Wingert here with you, saying thank you for spending some time with us on your Saturday afternoon. We greatly appreciate it. Players get onto the fields, take a chance to shout out our awesome LHSN broadcast crew. Sam Rice pressing the buttons, making me seem smarter than I am. Thomas Murphy on replay. Jada Chambers, one of our camera ops. Kyle Ayers, the other. I want to give a big thank you to all those who help make this game come to reality, but also it's just one of 2 broadcasts we had today. Out over at Baseball, Nathaniel Pierce clicking the buttons. Sydney Metz on replay. Kenny Robles working the graphics. Walter Scott out in the field working the camera. As much as people hear my voice calling games, it is a lot more that goes into it than just me. And give them all some shine and give them a quick thank you here on the broadcast. But players now back on the turf. And play can now get underway in the final stanza between the Knights and the Hornets. It's Chloe Mitchell back at midfield for Southern Virginia, opposite of Tori King. Primarily been the draw control battle we've seen throughout this contest. Falling up into the Lynchburg afternoon sky. Possession awarded to Lynchburg. Ala Daniel kicks it over to Santora, now back behind the net. With Michelle Perkins over one more time. This is Reagan Bednar. Bednar, a junior from Asheville, North Carolina. Lost control just in front of the posts. Bednar played her freshman season at ODAC rival Guilford. Gets her second game played on the year. Olatupu Mulatalo lost it right around midfield. Santora picks it up. Backpedals. Swings it over to Libby Kennedy. And with Kennedy just in front of the net. Whistle's blown. Foul called. Kennedy take the free position. Lets it fly. And finds the stick of Jessica Webb. Ricochets out towards the far sideline. Santora there to regather. Kennedy 5 goals, 2 assists, and 5 games played last year. And today marks her second game played of the season. Had a goal and an assist in the win against Averett. Dumas forced to retreat. Marked up by Mitchell. Whistle blown. Possession goes to the Knights. Almost 2 minutes through the fourth quarter. At midfield, Adelaide Smith. Splitting the difference between Henderson and Daniel. Sent towards Rogers. Now returns the favor. Tries to get it out towards Daniel. Johnson poked it away. Forces Ala Daniel. Send it across midfield. And as it rolls that way for a moment, picked up by Perkins. Now it's Bednar with it. Bednar slows down the tempo and gets it to Santor, who sends it over to Daniel. Now with Tori King, and Lynchburg will work it all the way around the clock. Ala Daniel, 14 goals, 4 assists, and 15 games played last season. Had 4 ground balls picked up against Averett. It's 4 draw control wins as well. Just a player who does a little bit of everything for Coach Reed and the Hornets. Southern Virginia into the attacking third now. Controlling is Michaela Martin. Gets it over to Tyler John. Played in all 15 games a season ago. Had 3 goals and an assist. And a loss to Bridgewater. So far this afternoon has an assist. That went to the goal scored by Johnson. Tried to get it through to Mitchell. Pass did seep through, but Skylar Rowe now working against Dumas, trying to pick up the ground ball. Rowe in control. Sends it back out to Abby Pepperone. Gets it to John once more. Over to Johnson. Tyler John tracking to her right. Shot clock at 20. Screen set by Smith. Johnson spins right. Has no room against Ala Daniel. Finds Chloe Mitchell. Shot. Score. Makes it a 9-goal differential. Southern Virginia makes it 12-3. Chloe Mitchell, her first score on the afternoon. And that becomes her 3rd on the season. Take another look. Nice feed from Johnson. Mitchell just in front of Patricia Rogers. Turns into the 3rd score of the day for the Knights.
Assistant number 2, Alyssa Johnson.
Johnson will get the assist. her first on the season. She came in today with neither a goal nor an assist. Today she's got one of each. So the clock stops with 10:43 to go in the fourth quarter. Elise Henderson on one side and Chloe Mitchell fresh off scoring the goal on the other. Popped up. Johnson with the ground ball. Fields pressure from backside defender Peyton Saville. The whistle goes against the Hornets. Knights back into the attacking third. Mitchell to Skylar Rowe behind the net. Over to John. In front of John appears to be Meredith Bornholt. Shot. Wide of the posts. It'll stay with Southern Virginia. Henderson, closest defender against Johnson. Screen laid by Pepperone. And now it's Slacum trying to slow down Johnson. After the whistle's blown, Johnson, frustrated, wants the call to go against Lynchburg. 9:42 to play in the fourth. Now Johnson nodding her head, seemingly happy with the call on the field. Free position opportunity for Southern Virginia. Johnson to take. But first, referee sort out a few more player alignments. Johnson finds the left post. Bounces back out. Pepperone was near it, unable to corral it. Instead, Carly Hughes tried to bring it to the near sideline with a pass sent to Saville, but pass a step out in front of the sophomore. Across the near sideline, it goes. So Alyssa Johnson, once again, 47 goals, 16 assists a season ago, one of each so far this season. We've had a couple players lead today's contest. You're being shaken up. Shot misses wide. This one comes from Michaela Martin. But to update you on those players who left the field, it was Leah Dumas, who we've seen already back out on the turf, making an impact. Hasn't found the back of the net since the first quarter. She scored 3 times. But on the other side, it was Natalie Ewell, a scary injury. So it was towards the very end of the first half. Ewell up on the sideline, but with the aid of crutches. There's an update on some of the players who had to leave today's contest a little early. Dumas back out there, Ewell on the sideline. Kennedy turns, fires, shot. Wide right. Hornets maintain possession. It's Michelle Perkins. To Saville. Now back to Kennedy. Looking in the direction of both Bednar and Perkins. Perkins gets the pass. Saville takes screen right. Set by Henderson. Foul turns into a free position. Stepping up, passing it off to Henderson. Shot, buried home. Elise Henderson, 3rd goal of the season, 1st on the afternoon. Lynchburg back up by 10. It's now 13-3. Here's the most recent score one more time. Henderson Got their defender on their toes. Breaks towards the right. Only needed a one-step edge on her defender. And it becomes the third of the season for Henderson. After tallying a pair against Averett, you see the crowd on the far side of Dr. Jack Tom's track. Pumped up for Henderson, who finds the back of the net. And at the end of the play, Rainey Whitworth, third-year head coach for Southern Virginia, takes a timeout. Wants to talk over with her team with 6:37 left to be played. If you missed me talk about it earlier, here's the upcoming schedule for both sides. Southern Virginia will be on the road at Methodist this upcoming Thursday before returning home for contest against Kenyon on Saturday the 12th, and then Greensboro on Tuesday the 15th. Meanwhile, for Lynchburg, next Friday, they'll be back at home, play host to the York Spartans, and then a couple of games being played down in Florida, taking on Denison and Franklin and Marshall. Hornets in the driver's seat, likely to improve to 3-0. And we'll have some tough non-conference duels next. Again, York, Denison, Franklin, and Marshall on the horizon for Lynchburg. And with a winning record this year, become 14 in a row for Coach Bruce Reed over a 20-year period. I'd say that's pretty darn good. And Lynchburg made it to the ODAC semis last year before falling to Washington and Lee. Looking to get back there. And if Lynchburg were to reach the semifinals, it'd be the 8th time in Coach Reed's tenure. Lynchburg's been able to do that. Made it to the ODAC title game back in 2010. I think that's ultimately the goal in mind for the Hornets. Get back to that game. Once you're in the championship game, anything's possible. It's a one-game scenario. Ball could bounce any number of directions once you're there. Chloe Mitchell stands opposite of Anna Snoddy. Draw control. Turns into a ground ball picked up by Mitchell. Southern Virginia's offense has been much more present here in the second half. Back into the attacking third. Addison England, shot. Misses wide right. Patricia Rogers looking long. And on a hop over the head of Libby Kennedy. Picking it up is Roxy LeBaron. So it appeared LeBaron was going to have a beat on it. Instead, it's Lynchburg keeping it. Santora, after the pass from Madison Knight, moves into the attacking third. Jenna Ondrasek had it for a moment. First game played for the freshman coming from Baltimore, Maryland. Wanted to call out Ondrasek out there. First taste of collegiate action. Shot on net from Kennedy. Gets a second chance and converts. Patience is a virtue, and this time it turns into a goal. Lynchburg up 14-3. That becomes the first of the day for Libby Kennedy, second on her junior season. Here it is one more time. Save for Webb, but it's tough. Lacrosse that close to the net. If you get a second chance, it's certainly a favorable one, to put it lightly. Kennedy brings some validity to that point. Pushes the lead up to 11. The clock continues to roll. Down below, 5 minutes left until the conclusion. Mitchell versus Jenna Ondrasek. Excuse me, that was Anna Snooty again. Snooty, freshman from Palmyra, Virginia. Good to see as Lynchburg later in this contest been able to empty out the bench, get some freshmen some playing time, which certainly pays dividends. Look at it from the big picture perspective. Lights turn on at Schellenberger Field. So we're down to 4 minutes and counting. Shot advantage for Lynchburg at 41-13. Now heading towards the sideline is Reagan Bradley. It's a green card given to Bradley, freshman from Ocean Pines, Maryland. So it's just a 1-minute penalty. Bradley can return when there's 3 minutes left on the clock. Free position. Taking on the near side is Addison England. Tyler John had it in and out of her stick, and that's a look where John will want that one back. She catches that in stride. Enough mustard behind the shot. Got to think it more than likely finds home that close in the face of Rogers and take a stellar save from the freshman. Not that it's impossible, but odds are. That's a good scoring chance created by Southern Virginia, but popped out of the stick of Tyler John, So it becomes an empty possession. Bednar brings it back. And whistle stops play. And it looks like possession is going to be given to Southern Virginia. Thought the call was going to originally go against the Knights. Instead, it's Southern Virginia taking over on the offensive side. Holly Cunna, one of the starters today for Coach Whitworth and the Knights. Johnson ahead for Mitchell, even numbers. Shot, score. This one's for Belle Quigley. Freshman from Logan, Utah gets her first collegiate goal. Congratulations in order for Belle Quigley. The first-year player makes it 14-4. Here's a look at the goal for Quigley once more. The feed comes from Mitchell. And a special goal there for Belle Quigley. Deficit down to 10. And Mitchell, after getting the assist, that's her fourth on the season, stands at midfield, opposite. And Snooty once again. Ground ball picked up by England, trying to take it all the way by herself. Lost it. Bornholt ahead, looking for Santora. Off the stick of the grad student, and now through easily into the attacking third. About a 20-ish second difference between shot and game clock, so the shot clock does stay on. Rolling back towards midfield. Ondrasic regathers for the Hornets. Passes over to Bradley, who's back out there after getting the green card. Picking off the pass. England causes the turnover. With the final 60 seconds of play, it's with Mitchell. Ahead for Quiggle. Quiggle finds John. Shot. Score. It's now 14-5. Clock stops with just under 50 seconds to play. Tyler John brings the deficit down to single digits. Fourth goal of the season for the sophomore. First on the afternoon. And here it is one more time. Rogers forced to step up. John able to get it up and over the shoulder of the freshman Patricia Rogers. Now a 9-goal difference. Snoddy versus Mitchell once more. False start. Gives possession to the Knights. I know I mentioned it earlier this quarter, but the offense has been much more prevalent here in the second half. And so not quite the same passing patterns and sequences that we saw for Lynchburg here in the second half. Nonetheless, it felt a little closer between the two sides here in the second set of 30 versus the first half. Johnson had it poked away. It was called a foul, especially towards the end of the play, as Jade Mayer is trying to get the ground ball. We're down to 5 seconds. Johnson to take the free position. Takes the shot. Rogers with the save, and the final seconds of this contest have ticked away. Lynchburg elevates to 3-0 in the season, and Southern Virginia on the other side falls to 0-3. Second all-time meeting between these two squads goes the same verdict as it did last year. Lynchburg comes out on top. Some closing thoughts before we round out. Southern Virginia will be back in action against Methodist on the road Thursday on March 10th, but the big question I have coming into this contest, what is the status for Natalie Ewell? And if Ewell is out for a significant time, I think the offensive workload grows that much larger for players like Alyssa Johnson and your draw control specialist, Chloe Mitchell, finding ways to find offense generated by passing patterns and sequences and create openings as opposed to relying on players getting open in one-on-one spots. Just some of my initial takeaways from seeing this team play just one time, so obviously a small sample size. And Rainey Whitworth was a stellar player for the Knights and has gotten this team headed in the right direction as a head coach. I would trust her judgment, simply put. On the other side, Lynchburg, now 3-0 in the season, stays perfect, and in the home opener begins the 2022 campaign with a win at home. Next up for Lynchburg, a date with York next Friday, so chance for the Hornets to improve to 2-0 at home. And all in all, today shows a really strong team output, maybe a little slow offensively in the second quarter, only one score in the second set of 15, but the other 3 quarters were really fun to watch this Hornets team get to work, picked to finish third in the preseason poll, and looks like serious contenders inside the ODAC. That's going to do it for us at Schellenberger Field. Again, shout out to our LHSN production staff and our director, Sam Rice. Until next time, my name's TJ Wingert, and we are signing off.